Hello everyone. I'm sure you've heard the word inflation. If you saved up $100 in 1950, today it has the purchasing power of $1,248 as of 2024. This one word, inflation, can shake the stock market and many important decisions made around the world. It is a very important and dangerous financial phenomenon that has a huge impact on a country's economy. Today, let's try to understand what this word actually means and how it is directly and indirectly linked to many economic factors. In simple terms, inflation is the general increase in the prices of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. Inflation is typically measured in CPI, short for Consumer Price Index. Okay, so what causes inflation? Well, it is generally caused by three main causes: demand pull inflation, cost pull inflation, and currency depreciation. Demand pull inflation occurs when the demand for goods and services exceeds the supply. And the second cause, cost pull inflation, happens when the production cost of the products and services go up. This can also include an increase in wages and the price of raw materials. To cover this cost, the price of the product goes up and gets passed on to the consumers at a higher price. The third cause is currency depreciation. If the government prints more notes than required, the currency will lose its value and will cause hyperinflation. What is hyperinflation? Well, there are three types of inflations: creeping inflation, hyperinflation, and stagflation. Creeping inflation happens when there is a mild and gradual increase in prices over time. Hyperinflation is an extremely high accelerating inflation rate. Some of the countries that have suffered through hyperinflation are Venezuela and Zimbabwe. Now, stagflation is when inflation coexists with economic stagnation and high unemployment. Okay, so what are the effects of inflation? Well, first and foremost is a decrease of purchasing power and the value of the money. Now, this might be the main effect of inflation, but there are some hidden effects of inflation as well. One being the uncertainty. High or unpredictable inflation can create uncertainty in the economy, making it challenging for businesses to plan for the future and allocate resources efficiently. This again can leave a bad impact on the performance of companies and businesses. Okay, so hopefully you understand the disastrous effects inflation has on the economy. But how does it affect an ordinary citizen? Well, inflation can cause high food, gasoline, rent, and all commodity prices a person pays for. So how is inflation controlled? Well, in most countries, monetary policy tools are used to influence inflation. For example, interest rates. Interest rates are basically the price you have to pay to take a loan. And apart from this, governments can use policies to adjust the government spending and taxes to control inflation. And did you know unemployment is also directly related to inflation? If inflation rises, the unemployment rate drops. This shows us the inverse relationship between inflation and unemployment. If one goes up, the other drops, and vice versa. This was clearly visible during the lockdown period of COVID-19. People were consuming less goods and services. This caused the opposite of inflation, deflation. The demand for the products and services became less, and the inflation rate plummeted. As a result, the unemployment rate shot up. So this is why it is very important to maintain a balance between inflation and unemployment. But is inflation a bad thing? Well, inflation to an extent helps the economy grow. It keeps businesses profitable and prevents customers from buying products when the prices go down. So what is the ideal level of inflation? Around 2 to 3% is considered a healthy rate of inflation, as it creates the necessary balance between inflation and unemployment. All in all, inflation is a persistent increase in the general price level of goods and services over time. It is a complex but important economic phenomenon influenced by various factors, and central banks and government policies employ policy tools to manage and control inflation within desired targets for economic stability. That's it for this episode on inflation. Thank you very much for listening.